Good evening, party people. What a good Monday night it is. I've been waiting to do this interview for so long. I'm super stoked that it's happening. Welcome to TCB Studios and welcome to Burn It Down. This guest is a dear friend of mine, and I love what he's doing. And luckily for me, he loves everything I'm doing. He's one of the first supporters of the Burn It Down show, the whole idea behind the show. And immediately we were like, let's talk about Pickles. Let's have you as a sponsor, and let's work on projects together. And we've worked on a few projects together. I'm super excited to call him a dear friend. We've had so much fun. We were just talking about a party we went to yesterday in the green room, backstage. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the man behind the scenes, the man behind Death Pickles, Mr. Kelly Hester.
Hello.
What? What is going on, buddy? How you doing?
How's it going? Doing good,
Hey,
dude. Good to see you again.
you look wonderful, and we both look pretty good considering we got kind of crazy yesterday afternoon.
Be a lot worse, right? Yeah. Yesterday was great.
Uh, it just proves, and I've talked about this with so many of our guests, that ATL, Atlanta in the fall, there's nothing like it.
Oh, it was
So
great. It was,
Elmere, which is a place we've referred to as the Office, Westin Motel, even wrote a song about it. Table 2 was the office for years, where we had meetings, business meetings. Sometimes just went to escape our troubles, wrote songs, and planned even pickles. And it was their 25th anniversary yesterday. You guys made an awesome pickle jar for them, or
yeah,
pickles for them.
yeah.
Oh,
They're big supporters of us. They've used our beans and okra for a special Bloody Mary, so we loved them. And we were at we had a booth at the Halloween fest or parade last year in the 5 years.
mhm.
So we're going to do that again with them this year. But we're big supporters of them, and we're super stoked to be able to do a label for them.
Oh, it's the best. I was just looking, I was just taking some notes. And yesterday, when I got to the party and the show, I gave you a jar, an empty jar, because you're always asking people, like, when you're done with these pickles, please bring me back the jars because I need it. So I gave you a jar yesterday. But this is my Kelly's Death Pickles Christmas 2021 that I keep change and Sharpies and pens in. And I'm always working out of this jar right here.
Fuck yeah, dude. Awesome. Well,
The
appreciate
best.
your support. Yeah, it's
Well,
great.
and you guys, I shared it today on the Cosmos page, and I've shared it before. And you guys made a Westin Motel pickle, and we sold that at a show. And that one, I think for a minute, was like that one did really well.
Oh, that's great. I think we've done 2 or 3, but
Yeah.
I have 2 or 3 at the kitchen that people returned, and I set them aside for you. But
Oh man.
we'll do another run too. Like,
Yeah. When we finally get
Christmas
this
break.
next record out, which I'll tell you off camera what I think we're going to call it. I got some ideas for how spicy these pickles can be, and also let's just say uh, walking walking along the sides of death. We can have some pretty cool artwork on it. You know.
Like, dude. Yeah, I'm
Well,
sure.
we'll have to have a meeting in the West End, where your new office is that you're sitting on the porch of right now.
Yeah,
Congratulations! Right down the block from Ember City, and right down
yeah.
the block from the kitchen. From the kitchen.
So we're renting a place from Bill Kelly from Macedon, and it's amazing. It's a big, nice house. Really what we wanted when we moved downtown. It happened a little sooner than we expected, but Bill's really taking care of us, and it's a great house. You're gonna dig it, and I'm, right down the street from the kitchen, Ember City.
I absolutely love it, man. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Well, I tell people this, and you and I have talked about this as well. When you were on like 3 on the 1s and 2s and everything, because you and I share a million friends. but somehow we only met like right before the pandemic, which is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, crazy. Yeah,
Absolutely insane. Like heard of each other and everything. But the
yeah,
cool thing
but
is,
pretty
it
much
was
every one of your friends are my friends, and if they
yes,
weren't before, they are now. But
yeah, for sure. B. Kinch, Sheena, and
yeah,
everyone. Yeah, Marlo.
yeah,
But
like when
but
me
the,
and Michelle got together, I was like 17, and we hung out in the scene, and I worked at the Mass Grave when I was 16. I moved out, lived in Little Five Points, and so I knew all the bands. Had a lot of friends that were in bands, and then
yeah.
once we had kids, we went back home up to Forsyth County and kind of checked out, and because I was getting into some bad shit that I shouldn't have been. And,
Hmm.
and so like all that worked out. Like Michelle got my shit together, and our kids grew up. And then when they grew up, I hooked up with like Zoroaster, and then with Casey Yarborough because we went to the same high school,
Yeah.
and the rest is history. We like I said,
Yeah.
my kids grew up, and I could go back out again because I was like 20 years old when I had my first kid. So I was really young.
Wow.
But
Well, luckily
I don't
you
feel like I'm that old, and
and
now I can get out and do my thing again.
Well, luckily, I think you and Michelle have made a deal with the devil because you look still like you're in your 20s, which is awesome. So, a couple of things. Well, one, I've talked about this before too. Casey Yarbrough is probably my oldest friend in Atlanta. I met him in the early 90s, and I wouldn't probably know half of the people that I know, certainly the Kinchlow brothers, because his nephew, who was Brenda's brother, and
Yeah,
Brenda.
yeah,
Um, Basically, they played music with the Kinchlows. They lived next door to him, and then next thing you know, I meet Brian and Rob Kinchlow, and it's just like, oh man, unbelievable. So if it wasn't for Casey, boom, shout out Casey.
yeah.
Other thing is the great thing is then when we did meet, you and I was like that, and that like became close, so close
Yeah.
immediately, which is so awesome, and I love that, and I love when that happens.
Oh yeah.
and And then third thing is big shout out to Michelle behind the scenes, your better half, your partner in the business, your partner in life, your wife. And I say this a lot on shows. We all know, listen, we're no dummies. Behind most great men, there's a great woman running things.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd be a mess without her. She's a trooper.
Shout out, Michelle. We are huge fans here at TCB of hers and yours. And now that's what we get into Kelly's Death Pickles, okay? Because I bumped into Sid Howell, shout out Sid Howell yesterday, who does some great,
Yeah,
putting on shows, curating, putting on events, big rock events. He's got a huge one in November, and then also his own podcast and his own shows. And I remember seeing an interview that you did with him when the wheels were just starting to turn, and you
yeah.
were like, well.
That was when it was happening. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you said you worked with bands, you worked the doors at clubs, you worked security, you worked at shows, and you saw some of the biggest metal acts of your life. But you were like, but I didn't play in bands. And then when I came up with this idea to do Death Pickles, I treated this project like this was my baby, this was my band.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Exactly.
please tell me about that, us about that, because I absolutely love that.
Well, yeah. So it is kind of like my band. Like, it's all the recipes. I came up with myself, tested it all myself, and how I've somehow made it like a way to be a part of music is crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, and now I get in shows, and now I can deal with bands, work with their art. Um, yeah, it's great, and I've met like so many more people through Pickles than I ever did when I was just hanging out at shows and stuff.
Okay.
Some,
When I was doing your write up about you and talking to Renee, shout out Renee behind the scenes, who I could not do this show without her. She is a badass who I always just say is just in the back really doing the driving. I was like, Kelly Hester, plumber by day, badass father, husband, rock and roller, pickle farmer at night, because you really do make everything yourself.
Yeah. It's a labor of love, really. Um, but I love it. Like it's like my hobby. I love growing the peppers. I love being in the kitchen and chopping stuff and making the pickles and coming up with new ideas. And I love the art and the
Mm-hmm.
promotion. Promoting it at shows. Um, Being at Ember City when we're there one day and V-Man from Slipknot shows up with Darren. Michelle's
Yeah,
in the
I love
background
him.
putting on makeup and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she's like, "Big dude." You're like, "Who
I
the hell are
love
you?"
I love B-Man. He's
But
such a
yeah,
nice
you
dude.
never know what you're gonna see there. It's amazing.
You
And
actually, yeah. You did it right because you're promoting these bands. The title Death Pickles is so great. Once people get just realize that it's rock and roll and it's pickles. And I was telling Ruby Ray, and I was telling a few people when I was doing promotions today. I was like, no, seriously, they are the best pickles on the planet. Like, he does everything himself. And like I said, when we brought you on, and you were the first person that okayed us to mention your name and come on as a sponsor and
yeah,
team up with us on the show, because we
oh
try
yeah,
to help you as much as we can as well, and share and spread the name and spread the
yeah.
information.
That's what I want to do with the bands. I want. I'm sending now with Etsy page. I'm sending jars all over the U.S. and I'll send jars with um, all kinds of different random bands on it, and I'm hoping these people are looking them up and checking them out. And
Right.
so it promotes me and promotes them. Uh, it's pretty cool.
I love that one of the first few shows that we did. It might have been even the one I did with Darren Sanders, our brother. You and I
Yeah,
mean, Darren's the best. I was like, yes, and shout out to our sponsors, Kelly Hester and Michelle Hester and Kelly's Death Pickles. And I was like, you're doing something right when the band Slayer says they love your pickles. When the
yeah,
band Rancid is eating your pickles and they say they love your pickles. I mean, you showed me. You're like, yeah, Lars from Rancid. He just sent me back the jar saying he needs more
yeah.
new pickles.
He saved them for like 8 months, like 2 cases of jars, and sent them back to me UPS. Cool. It's like I never thought he would do it. I thought he was just bullshitting, but yeah, real cool dude.
No, he's a very cool guy. I played on a ship with him in the Bahamas, and he was like the nicest dude. And I mean, I
Yeah,
remember being a Rancid fan, and I was an Operation Ivy fan, then I was a Rancid fan, in the early '90s. And I remember you were like you said, you were listening to more metal, but your wife was really into them, and you're like,
yeah.
and I'm
We, we
digging him,
still
and
have
he's a
like
cool guy.
we still have her original Rancid CDs of the Out Come the Wolves and shit.
Yeah.
Because she was big into them, and I was more into like old school, like Black Flag, Circle Jerks, and
Hmm.
so I called like a lot of the newer bands. I'm like, oh, it's bubblegum. But yeah, I have come to respect a lot of those bands that I snubbed my nose at back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're fucking great, and he's cool as shit.
He is
Uh,
so cool. And I think that is so funny because I think that happens just as we get older, we get wiser. You and I mean, I just had such a great time hanging out with you behind the scenes, behind the tent, like yesterday. Like, we always just have such great conversations.
yeah,
And it's
that
about
was the
pickles.
highlight of my night.
Oh man, me too, man. And it's about pickles, rock and roll, and family and community, and like loyalty and good stuff, like the important stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, love it.
So what year do you think you started this idea? And then, like, when do you think it really started going?
I think it's been like 6 or 7 years, like, and I just had the idea, or like decided to make them because like my family, we're like farmers and stuff, like really country people from Forsyth County from like the 1830s and shit.
Wow.
So yeah, like a big family of farmers. My mom was the youngest of like 8 kids. My grandparents were born in 1889 and 1898, and yeah, crazy. They saw everything happen in America in their lifetime, from cars
Oh my,
to space shuttles and shit. So
oh my,
like, so that's kind of my country background, and so pickling was a normal thing. And then me and Michelle would buy these big ass jars of Mount Olive pickles because we were just really into them.
right,
And I bought some like $10 McClure's pickles, and they had like the real big cloves of garlic and stuff. And I
right.
was like, I can make these. So I started making them, started turning them on to my friends. We go on camping trips, and I'd bring stuff, and I'd get feedback like, is this good? And then Dwayne Jones from Orleo, um, back then, his family has a farm. He grew peppers. He gave me the idea of doing like some really hot pickles.
Yeah.
So we did ghost
Mhm.
peppers, and then I eventually got into Carolina Reapers, and then really expanded on the pepper thing. And then the Jeremy Adams from Nominaut, the guitarist from Nominaut, he goes by Jim Bob Cooter on Facebook because
Yeah,
he's
what a talented guy.
so he has a hide on Facebook. But he did the first label. He was like, "Hey, if I do a label for you and we sell them at our merch table, kind of like people are doing hot sauce." And I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, yeah."
it's
So,
such a great idea.
so he did it, and uh, made a template, like made the Nominat label, which was the very first one. Made the template and left it blank so I could send that template out to other bands and
Oh,
put
very cool.
words in there. So it all started from that very first show with them. And then now we've done like 30 bands at least in town. And people want to be on a label now.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, when Western Motel did Band with Names Good with Faces, we partnered with a couple of breweries and we had some beers come out, some Western Motel beers, and then you came to us and you were like, "How'd you like your own brand of pickles?" We were like, "Are you kidding me?" And they were really good, and the label and the sticker was really cool. And we even got involved with the first one we did with my guy and Don't Waste My Heartbeats, but then the second one was like the new wave kid one,
yeah.
and it is cool. How cool is it for me to say to my mom, be like, "Hey, mom, you said I'd never amount to nothing. Well, my name is on a pickle jar right
Yeah,
now."
yeah. Yeah, I think it's cool.
It
And
is
I,
so
I
cool.
look like all my art, like my labels are great, and all the art's done by a local artist, here in town, or
Yeah,
someone from the band. If the band can't do it, almost every band has an artist in the band or a girlfriend
yeah,
that's an artist. But I'll get one of my guys to do it, Joe Thompson or Jeremy Adams. And
yeah.
I've had like Dylan Brown. He used to do stuff for me. So I've had, Matt Kilpatrick, lots of people have helped me out with labels and art through the years.
Right. Yeah. And
But
I
it
love that.
came out of nowhere. What a weird thing. And it just happened. And I'm like friends with everybody, and I can
Yes,
talk
you
to
are.
them. And it just, it became thing. And, all the bands spread it. Every band I've done, their fans are into it now. So it spread the word pretty quick.
Yeah, well, you've done these pop-ups. I mean, I've been to them. Now I'm in town a lot more, but I would like luckily be in town and you doing a pop-up like on a sidewalk, and you're like, "Tom, we had this many jars and we sold out of them in 2 hours."
Yeah, great. Like we were doing mostly shows before the pandemic, and just with bands and at their merch table. And then when there was no shows, we had to come up. We were like, okay, we're gonna have to go out to some festivals, and
Yeah.
so we started doing like Empire Arts Gallery, which is Amos Rifkin, and Malia's gallery, and then a few more. A lot of stuff at Sabbath. They support us a lot, so we've done a
Love
lot
Sabbath.
with their
Yeah,
place. Yeah, they're great, and they're huge supporters of us, and as we are them. But
I'm a huge fan of Sabbath Brewing. I was hanging out with dude one of the first times that maybe you introduced me to him probably, and I was like, "Man, I love this place. How'd you come up with the name Sabbath Brewing?" And he's like, "Well, He's like, well, my dad left us when we were young, and me and my mom we just listened to a lot of Sabbath. And then his cat runs by, and his name is Geezer Butler, and I'm like, yeah, of course, like that's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh man, he's so great.
I love work in his brewery, and as he was getting going, it took him a while to get going, but so we've been supporters from the beginning.
Oh man, it's so great, and they're killing it. They're having some great events and great shows that I've been to, But I love how it all comes full circle because you guys really have always been about like it's homemade. It's like this is what we do, and it's organic and it's like coming from the ground up, and it's literally the way you're doing it too because you're helping out new artists and the guy going full circle, the guy who did your first label is about to be doing a huge one for you. I mean, and that's right. When I said at the beginning, I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to do this for so long, but we couldn't really make any announcements yet. But now I know you can't say a date, but you can make an announcement.
Yeah. So we are coming out with a Mastodon label finally.
Mastodon Pickles.
Yeah, Brent mentioned to me one time. He was like, "Why haven't you done one already?"
Yeah,
but
you're like, what? Okay.
Jeremy did some art, and I had this weird ass idea, and you'll see it when it comes out. But it looks great, and the art's great. But I want everything to be perfect when it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can say this that I've seen it, and I can't share anything either. But trust me, you guys' minds will be blown at this artwork. It's amazing.
I already have some other ideas for other labels, so we're gonna do like a limited amount of the first label, and then keep a few more going and keep it fresh with some new stuff. So I have other ideas coming, and Bill and the guys are super cool with letting me do whatever I want with it, and yeah, it's great. They're massive,
and it looks like it's coming soon. It does seem like everything's finally
it's about to happen. Now that I kind of wanted Bill to be in town when it came out, and so he's finished their tour, so maybe happening pretty soon.
Yeah, it looks like you're getting all your ducks in a row. What a way to end the year. And you sell these Mastodon pickles for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we're doing 4 labels for each member, so each gonna have their own signature flavor and name, and
right.
We'll do like a 4-pack, like a gift pack. So I'm gonna try to get a box where all 4 will fit in it, and it'll be like the collector's thing or whatever.
Right.
We're only gonna do like 1,000 of that label, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Because
you gotta bang them out and order them up.
Right, and the thing is for each member, there's a different name. So let's say, and it also kind of fits their personality. So let's say Brent's might be wild and spicy pickles, or and it's absolutely brilliant.
Could be hot as hell.
Yeah, just be called batshit crazy pickles. I figure love. It's gonna be amazing, man.
Each member came up with their name except for Troy. I came up with Troy's, and his was really the hardest. But Brian came up with his name while we were at Ministry. We were in the crowd watching Ministry play, and he came up with his, and I was like, boom, you nailed it.
I love it. Well, he's so funny, man. I love everything he does. So that is awesome. So we've talked about this because now when I see you, I'm like, man, what can we do to make Death Pickles go like to this next level and just become the biggest thing? Because like I was telling you, I now you see liquid death water everywhere, so people clearly aren't scared of the name death, and the pickles are. So this was yeah, this I was going to say.
They're doing it right, and that's the same kind of deal I'm trying to do, like. Kind of like the hot sauce people that a lot of bands sell hot sauce and stuff. But the pickle, you can only eat A lot of those hot sauces is to buy because of the label, but my pickles, you're gonna eat them and you're gonna want some more. It ain't just to buy the one label, you know.
No, without a doubt. You're a fan for life because I've had friends pass through town. I mean, my old roommate, he's like, oh, I need to go meet up and get, with Kelly to get some more pickles. And it is the absolute truth. Like when I said they're the best pickles on the planet. I mean, and why would I just say that? Because I grew up in New York City where there's the best delis in the world. Okay. So the best pickles you get next to sandwich and on your sandwiches. And when I'm living in the South, in Tennessee or Atlanta, and I go to a supermarket, I never get pickles in the pickle section. I go to where like the cold cuts are. There's always a few pickles there, and those are the closest to the best. And yours,
Yep. I'm trying to do like the traditional New York deli style sour ass pickle, and with a lot of nice crunch, Yeah, I was just talking to someone about going to New York and going around to some of the pickle shops in New York.
Well, I'm going to be playing a show December 9th in New Jersey and might be in New York, and I'm playing a show in Philly on December 10th. Come on up and hang out, man. We're going to be... Yeah, we just got to take a road crew up to New York and eat some pickles.
Let's do it.
Do some market research.
That's what I tell Michelle every time I have to go to a show. I'm like, I gotta do my thing, see and be seen.
Yeah, and she's like, it just happens to be that every business meeting you're in is at a rock and roll show or at a bar or a club.
That's where it all happens.
I know, well, that's where the action is, man. You'll need to send me the Etsy page and everything because Renee and I want to share it with all of our people watching on our end because I'm super proud of everything that Renee has done and everyone involved behind the scenes here because they kind of did the same thing. They did this very grassroots thing with CCTV and just said, hey, let's make our own network. And there's cooking shows. Jeffrey Butcher's got a show talking about movies, Day for Night, which is awesome. And there's just so many cool people doing stuff right now. And I love that I'm part of that community. Amongst my friends who are artists and musicians, and you're doing that as well. I mean, you're working with the musicians and working with artists, and we're reinventing the rules. I feel like in everything we do and making our own path.
Hell yeah, love it.
Oh man, it's so good to have you on, man. I need to come.
I was really stoked. I really wanted to do this for a long time, as you know, but you were one of my best friends.
Oh, same here, man. And that's the last thing. That's the last thing I said. Talking to Renee, I said, but most of all, he's become like Michelle and Kelly are like some of my favorite people on the planet, and we have so much fun hanging out with you guys. And it's like it's really made being back, here just the best ever.
Hell yeah, dude, love it.
So I need to come by Ember City in the kitchen and just hang out with you again. And I need to come by and check out the new place, which is basically where the dreams and the decisions are made.
Hell yeah, dude. Somebody cool's recording downstairs. I can't say, but you should come back.
I know who's recording downstairs. I love all our secrets that we can't tell people. Guys, hit me up. I'll tell you. Yeah, there's some magic happening.
My tongue sometimes,
There's some magic happening in West End Sound as well. So it's like you're making pickles. Christian, who was a guest on my show a few weeks ago from Whores, is down the block. Kate and Mortal are the owls down here. Darren's walking in.
Fine. So every time they practice, I hear them. The studio's below me, so I get to hear them.
Darren walks in. With.
My whole family's there. It's an awesome place.
Darren walks in with members of Slipknot. Darren's mother comes in to play French horn song, and you're making pickles.
Yeah. I was upstairs and she was like, Oh, he can come down here because I'm embarrassed. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Well, I need to book some time with Tom as well. Tom is going to be a guest on this show down the road as well, and we're going to talk about.
I'm not. I don't get to hang out in a lot of studios, but just watching him work, it's amazing. The dude he's just firing it off and just banging it out. He's a professional.
My favorite thing to see is when I'm in the studio with him is he's in the long run he's saving you money and time because he's kind of mixing and mastering and mixing as he's going, his brain and his hands, so that later on it's just going to make that final mix so much easier. And his brain is just genius. And he's worked on Bruce Springsteen albums. He's worked on so many Tom Petty albums. He's amazing, you know. Oh man. Well, we love you, and I think we're going to try to get out on the town on Saturday. So hopefully we'll see you guys. And again, I want to share your Etsy page with Renee and all of our viewers. And then as the new pickles come out, we will share it because that's what we try to do. Is we promote each other.
Yeah, it'll be soon. It's going to be big and very cool. We've got some other things in the works too. We got a lot of bands in town that we still haven't done labels for that we really want to do. So, Drifter.
Yeah, man.
Liquidations. We got a few in the works.
Shout out to Eric and Justin. So great sharing the stage with them yesterday. I love Drifter, and Eric's become like you, one of my quickest friends. I mean, we text each other all the time, and it's crazy. He grew up he was in New York, and we didn't know each other, and it's just now amazing.
Yeah, so cool.
Oh man, I love it. Well, it's rock and roll, it's punk rock, it's metal, it's from the street, it's honesty, it's loyalty, it's family, it's camaraderie, and man, it's just the best thing ever, man. And man, love you so much, man. And let's hang soon. And everyone, go check it out. We're gonna share the page. You got to try these pickles.
Cool. Love y'all. Thanks so much.
All right, man. Cheers, brother. Thank you. Take care.